Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Kind July conversation number 4. Can you believe it? And in a moment, I'll be bringing to the stage the wonderful singer, performer, songwriter, Dami Im. I know you're really excited about this conversation. So am I. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. My name is Jane Hutchin. I'm a journalist and presenter. Now, on your tab, you're going to see there's a chat tab and a Q&A tab. I'd love you to tell us where you're calling in from and how you're doing. Use that for the chat. You're welcome to chat all through the conversation. And then when we come to about 7:30, that's in about 30 minutes from now, please use the Q&A tab to ask your questions, and I'll put those questions to Dami. And we're going to have a great night. I know we are. Some of you might be like me, locked down for quite a few weeks now, but doesn't matter. Whatever happens, we are in a good mood. And I want to bring to the stage now Dami Im. Yay!
Hi, hello. Hi, Jane. Hi, everybody.
How are you? It's lovely to see you.
Yeah, lovely to see you as well. I just had dinner, so I'm very full. I think I probably overate. Yes, I do a lot.
I've got dinner afterwards, so I've got something to look forward to in a moment. But I have to ask you, Dami, you look so happy and well. Are you as happy and well as you look?
Well, I'm feeling all right at the moment, pretty good, because I do have a show tomorrow in Canberra. I was going to have started my tour at the beginning of this month, but they just kept getting cancelled and postponed. So none of it actually started. And tomorrow's the first day that I get to go perform for this tour, and it could be the last in a little while. Who knows? But yeah, I feel grateful that some things are still able to go ahead, but then also very frustrated as well, to be honest, because it's really been tough for this industry, the music industry that I'm in, and watching my peers sort of lose so many gigs. And I'm okay, I've got savings and all that, but not everybody are as lucky as me, and it's just really heartbreaking to see that. So yeah, it's been challenging, I have to say.
Dami, I have to say we're getting some lovely messages coming from people all over the country. Hi, Kathy from Berry. We've got Amanda from Sydney, Jan, Alec, hello from Melbourne, my friend, Mackie M, hello, Dami. There's so much love for you here tonight.
Oh,
and I could hear the disappointment in your voice. I wonder, at times like this, for example, some of us have been in lockdown for 3 or 4 weeks. I wonder, do you have a way to stop yourself feeling overwhelmed by circumstances that you can't control?
Yeah, for me, I think, it's been tough since, last year, so many disappointments and frustrations, but I don't know, I kind of personally go through a little bit of a cycle where I really process and absorb what's actually happening, and it takes me a little while for it to actually sink in, and then I get really overwhelmed, as you said, and upset. But I have to sort of let myself feel that way a little bit before I can actually move on. And I don't want to dwell in that real negative feelings for too long, but I just need to let myself feel it for at least a few days, or a week, if it's something really bad, like everything, all my dreams and hopes being cancelled. There are certain things that are more, that are harder than others. So depending on that, I just let myself sit in that negative feeling for a bit, and then I try and move on to find other things that I can do and control. And I guess just distracting myself with different hobbies, at the moment, I've been really enjoying growing my own vegetables, and that's something that I had never
Wow.
done before the pandemic. So that's something that I just do, and that I can keep doing and not have to think about all the bad news around the world. So I think, yeah, that's the way I tend to deal.
That is a lovely holistic way of looking at things, to actually allow yourself to feel the disappointment and the upset, before you turn the corner and move on. We're still getting some beautiful messages through. There's obviously a lot of Dami's Army here tonight. We've got calls from
Yeah,
Singapore, and so that's really beautiful. Tell me, I wonder, it's been a long time since you and your family moved from South Korea to come and live in Australia. Can you tell me, in Korea, is kindness something that's really liked and respected? Is it something that's admired?
I feel like in Korea, I don't know if there are. I feel like, I'm not an expert, but in my experience, there's a lot more kind of pride and shame that goes around in the culture. I feel like, so when somebody doesn't do so well, like I don't think I don't think kindness is a big thing. I don't know if that makes Korea sound really bad, but you know yeah, I feel like people are judged a lot more harsher in a way, like this in workplaces, or at schools, universities. I think there's a higher expectation of people, where I feel like in Australia things can be more relaxed and more understanding. So having said that, like, because of that higher expectations, people tend to do better at certain things and work harder, and great work ethic, and things
Yes.
get done. But when an individual is not coping well with a situation, I don't think there's that kind of room for people to just be kind and be a bit more understanding, and have that flexibility, just because I think it's a more competitive society.
Yeah. So you started learning piano when you were still in Korea. Did you ever have an inkling that you wanted your music to take you to extraordinary places?
Well, yeah, when I started off as a pianist, I just always just assumed that I was going to become a concert pianist, doing classical piano concerts around the world. That was just like, oh yeah, that's what I'll do, as if that's something super easy. It's not. But I think I didn't even like the thought of that, but I just thought,
Really?
I just thought, I don't have a choice, because Jane, like, when I came to Australia, I didn't speak English. So the only thing that I was really good at and was excelling at was music and playing the piano. So I just thought, yeah, that's I guess that's my dream. And we don't get a choice if you're good at something. So I didn't want it, but that's what I thought I would become. And then after university, studying classical piano, that's when I was like, okay, I'm now going to actually pursue something that I want to do, which is singing. And that's singing was what really excited me from since high school. I really liked the idea of singing pop songs, and it was a lot more fun than doing Mozart and Chopin and practicing scales.
I'm sure. Oh, so many lovely comments still coming through. That's very kind. Russell says, Dami is a beautiful person and he feels privileged to see this interview with me and you. That's so lovely,
Oh,
Russell.
that's so
Thank
sweet.
you. And I love this comment from Amanda, who said, COVID restrictions can turn us into a bit of a lonely cactus, which of course is one of your new songs.
Yeah. I actually wrote and released a song called Lonely Cactus during this year. Yeah, and people actually ask me, is that a real song or is that a joke? But yeah, it's a real song.
I love that idea of being a lonely cactus. It's such a solitary and, you know, spiky kind of image, isn't it? There's no two ways about it.
Yeah. It's like me, you know, because during the pandemic I was really craving social interaction, and I was like, oh, I feel a bit lonely. I can't wait to have my friends over and socialize again. Like I really miss those old days. And then when the lockdown was sort of lifted and I had friends over for dinner, I just couldn't wait for them to leave because I just wanted to, you know, be in my pajamas and watch Netflix, and I've gotten used to that. So it's like being this prickly person, but also being lonely. I think a lot of people relate to that. You know, we think we want to be by ourselves, but then we also definitely need connection with other people.
So, is the lonely cactus an introvert?
The Lonely Cactus is a I was gonna say it could be an introvert or an extrovert, but just real prickly. And I have a few friends like that as well. I had to channel these people to kind of paint the picture in my song. And I've got these friends who would be like, oh yeah, you know, like I want people to call me and ask me to catch up. Like, I've got time. Why is no one calling me? And then when people actually ask to catch up with him, then he would just go, oh, I'm just so busy, and he would play hard to get. So yeah, I don't know. I just think some people, or a lot of people are just weird.
Well, I really like the image, as I said. Look, I notice in your journey as a musician and a singer, and you know, we have had an interview before a few years ago, you are always changing, you're always evolving. And I remember one thing that you said some years ago. I think this was probably around the time after Eurovision. We lost you momentarily. I'm glad you're back. After Eurovision, of course, after X Factor in 2013, you have said before that you didn't know if you had the right look to be a singer, and yet you always look so fantastic in your outfits and in your publicity images. Do you think your journey has also been one of becoming more confident and kind of knowing yourself, as well as being a more amazing musician?
That's definitely, yeah, that very true about the confidence part, not me being amazing. But
Come on, you
you
are.
know, I think it's a very common story in the way that, you know, people when they're in their 20s, they feel self-conscious and don't really, you know, they struggle with self-image. And I guess for me, that was the same, except I was being seen by the public and people felt like they knew me and my pictures were everywhere. And I just felt, you know, I just didn't feel. Am I gone? Hello.
You're back.
I just didn't feel good looking enough to be a public, you know, like someone that the public knows as a musician. So, you know, I still sometimes struggle, like on my bad days, I would, are we having, keep getting lost. Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can still hear you. Keep going. If for
Okay,
any
yeah.
reason we lose you, we'll get you back.
All right. So, yeah, just the struggle was there just in a common way, but more in the public. And, you know, I'm 32 years old now, and during that time, I think I've built a lot more confidence and sort of, yeah, the strength and discovering more of who I am, who I want to be, and also just accepting myself with the flaws and whatnot, and just owning it a bit more and taking more control of how I run my life and my career. And yeah, I think I'm definitely still on that journey to accepting myself and learning more about, yeah, how to cope with different situations and being embarrassed of myself sometimes, all of that stuff. But yeah, I've definitely come such a long way since, the X Factor days.
I
Yeah.
know. It is amazing. And, Eurovision, and it's been a wonderful ride to watch from a distance. I'm going to break into your story for a moment because I want to talk about a kindness list that we've been compiling here at Stay Kind. And again, oh my goodness, we've got someone from Poland who's listening in, someone from Mexico. This is fantastic. So I've got this little kindness list. I'm going to read it out to you, and then I'm hoping you can add something to it. We've asked all our guests in the Stay Kind conversations, the Kind July conversations, to add a little bit. So far we've got be friendly, be helpful, listen, stop criticizing, don't control others, rise above retaliation. This coming one is my favorite. Be courteous in traffic.
Hardest.
Mrs. Governor General said, just say hello. The Governor General said, be slow to judge and be considerate of others. I guess because he's pretty high up, he gets 2. Grace Tame said to be patient, and Eddie Wu said the importance of forgiveness. Don't forget that. And last week, Catherine Wolfgram said being generous with our time. Don't be in a hurry. Just be generous when people talk to you. So, Dami, I wonder if you were going to add to the list, what would your contribution be?
Yeah, I mean, I love all that. That's beautiful. I would add kind of like what I always try and think about is to give people the benefit of the doubt, because a lot of the times it's really easy to just assume somebody is being rude, or they're looking down at you, or they're just being pricks, or it's really easy to just assume things, and sometimes it's not what you think immediately. That person might be going through a whole different set of things, and it might not be something that you feel like they're projecting on you. And I've had so many times where I felt upset at somebody for saying something, and my immediate reaction would be to call them and ask, like, why would you say that to me? You don't respect me. But then I try and stop myself and go, just like you said, be patient. Let's just wait for a little bit and give them the benefit of the doubt. And so many times it turns out that they actually didn't mean what I thought happened. It's just my misunderstanding, or there were different circumstances that I didn't see at the time where, things aren't as bad as I think they are, so just I think all the points that you mentioned really connect as well, where you can just be more generous, be patient, and don't react straight away and give them benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. That was a really great addition to the list. Dami, I want to talk to you about some of your charity work. I mean, this is an interview about kindness, and I know that you're an ambassador for Compassion Australia. You and your lovely husband, Noah. He must be
Yeah.
lovely, he's married to you. You sponsor 8 children in different parts of the world. I wonder, can you tell me what was it that made you do this? I know it's probably not work, it's the wrong way to describe it, but what drew you to sponsoring these children and connecting with children of poverty? And I guess some of them would be orphans as well.
Yeah, so I was a university student at the time, about 17 years old, and I heard about compassion on a radio station, and I just thought, wow, there's so much suffering around in the world, and we feel like there's nothing we can actually do about that. We're so far removed, and I'm just working on my career, doing, living my life here. And then when I heard about what Compassion was doing for the children in poverty around the world, I just thought, wow, like, if that's such an easy way for me to make a real change and do something so good for another human being and their family. So I started to sponsor this girl in India. And then at the time, I started dating my boyfriend, who is my husband now. And he was a really poor university student at the time, but I convinced him to sponsor. I was like, yeah, it's like, why wouldn't you sponsor? I guilted him into doing it. and then once we got married, we sponsored another child together, and we said, hey, one day we could go and visit them. That'd be really nice. So a few years later, I became a Compassion ambassador after X Factor, and we went to visit these kids in India, in Uganda, and in the Philippines. And it's just been so lovely to actually see how their lives were changed through, for me, just sending the money and sending letters. It was for them a whole, 180 turnaround on their lives. Otherwise, they would be living in hopelessness. But with the help of this charity, they had a future and they were being looked after. They had that sense of security and the community looking after them. So, yeah, I really, really love Compassion and being their ambassador.
Now, just to let everybody know, we've got about 6 or 7 minutes left in the interview. So after that, I'm going to be opening the floor to your questions in the Q&A tab. But a few more questions about the children. I wonder, Dami, when you were able to travel overseas and meet some of these kids, what did the experience of going to those countries, those villages, did that have an impact on you, and how?
Well, I suppose seeing them really gave me a lot of meaning in doing what I do, because sometimes when I'm being a musician and, releasing songs and doing tours and working and doing all that, I sometimes go, well, I hope I'm actually making a good impact on someone. And I mean, people say, oh yeah, your music, it's impacted me so in a positive way, but you can't always feel that. Whereas after I've visited those kids, I always picture those kids, every single day they're going to school, they're going to their compassion projects to be with other kids and being looked after, and it's like a daily impact that I'm having on them. So it gives me something to work for. And yeah, especially on certain days where I just feel like, oh, is this even worth it? Or I feel really just, drained or lost, it really helps me to refocus on why I do what I do.
Absolutely. I know that for many people, the pandemic has, even you, has stopped you from doing what you love to do, going on concerts, going around the country. But do you feel that you are able, in a sense, with your faith and also the good work you do with compassion, is it easy for you to kind of step over that?
Well, I feel like, it's been definitely been hard, and hard to just step over all the challenges, and especially seeing the people around me that have been so impacted as well. And then you see other people who have not been impacted. It seems like they haven't been impacted at all. Their work hasn't been affected, or it's still thriving, and it kind of, it just makes things feel worse in comparison, where some people are enjoying not not being able to travel, and it's just everybody's going through it differently, so that can be hard. But you mentioned my faith, and I mean, thank God for my faith, because I without my belief in, everyone has different beliefs, but me being Christian and believing in God and knowing that God is in control even through the toughest times, it does give me a lot of hope and something to just hang on to in all the different times, whether it's good times or bad times.
Well, we've got 2 more minutes before I open the floor to questions. I wonder, do you have a particular strategy for staying kind when you're in a challenging situation? I know the CEO of Stay Kind, Ralph Kelly, he likes to breathe it out, as he says. And I think that's such a great strategy, because as you're breathing out, you're exhaling, you're counting, you're slowing everything down metabolically. What about you?
So breathing, not fuming, not like
No.
breathing. Yeah. I feel like, for me, the times that I feel the most unkind to other people are the times that I feel small, and I feel like I'm being what do you call it? Like, I feel when I'm feeling insecure about myself, I think that's when I lose that kind of room to have some kindness and patience for other people. So for me, it's I try and reflect on myself and why I'm so triggered by certain things, because it's always like, most of the time it's not really about the person. Say, like in traffic, if
Yes.
if there's a really terrible driver, if I'm feeling really happy about myself and generous and all that, then it's not a big deal. I can sort of brush it off, go, oh, what's happening with that person? Whereas if I'm feeling stressed or feel like the world is, like nobody respects me, then I'm going to lash out, or more chance of me being like, really annoyed by that one person. So I think I try and just reflect back on myself, and I guess it's the breathing thing, but just like just thinking about, just observing what's going on inside me.
I love that, because I like the way you say that it's, it's almost like having to reflect inwards and resist that momentary thing of being small. I also suffer from that too. So thank you for sharing that. That was really useful. So I think it's good time to open the floor to questions now. And I can see that there are some questions coming in. Oh, wow. some excellent questions already. Here we go. How can Dami use her role as Queen Dummy Army to encourage kind behavior in her dummy army? That's a great question. We always love to be kind to others. However, if some people treat her in a very bad way, how will she respond to that person?
I suppose, I mean, Dami Army, a lot of it takes place online on my Facebook or Instagram, you know, and sometimes most people in my comment section are quite kind and they're lovely and they have really kind of constructive discussions if they disagree. But because it's online, there are sometimes those moments where people decide to be a bit nasty and, you know, they just lash out or attack, being a bit rude. You know, you'll always get those online, I think. But I don't know, for me, most times I try and ignore them because it's really not worth my energy and my time if they're just being super negative, and that's more that person's problem than mine or anybody else's. And also Dami Army will attack them for me, so I don't really need to add anything to that. That probably doesn't answer the question, but I think, online trolls and negativity is always going to be there, but you just have to not let your energy be, you know, affected too much and be dragged down by this one crazy person.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure everybody who's on this call is already quite aware that Dami's Army is a huge fan base.
Yeah.
So here's another great question from Mackie. Your music video for Smile in 2015 featured you performing random acts of kindness. How relevant do you think is doing these acts of kindness, especially during this pandemic?
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, I released a song in 2015 called Smile, and for the music video I went to do random acts of kindness, went to a nursing home to sing and give them cupcakes, and went to walk some dogs and went to a childcare, read books. So it was like a nice, fuzzy, lovely video, and it was nice. But yeah, I suppose in the pandemic right now, I can't really go and visit nursing homes or childcare centers. I don't think they want me at the moment. But yeah, just being kind to strangers, I think it's actually quite powerful. Like just being, you know, on the streets. I think Jane, you mentioned it in one of the strategies, just saying hello to people. Like I've felt that, like, I'm sort of, I am quite introverted, so I'm not naturally someone who would just like talk to strangers, and I'd rather just, you know, I like putting on the mask and just ignore me, people, kind of thing. But then sometimes I've experienced it where I was feeling really low, like one of those days where I was feeling really down, and then somebody just next to me, I think I was buying a cake or something, and someone started asking me about my cake, and it made me feel, you know, really just nice, like, oh, there's nice people in the world. And it was just really nothing too crazy. It was like, oh, what does that taste like? Did you like that? Should I get that one? And just the fact that that person respected me enough to chat with me, you know, it felt really lovely. So I think that kind of interaction with strangers, I think, is really quite powerful, especially during the pandemic.
Absolutely. Kristen has asked, was there ever an act of kindness extended to you that made an impact on your life?
Ooh, act of kindness. I mean, I mean, obviously there's so many in my life. I mean, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for so many people just being kind and nice to me and being generous, giving me opportunities. Yeah, I suppose, yeah, it's act of kindness. Just the people that I work with. I mean, I don't know if my manager is watching in the other room,
I'm sure
but
it
like,
is.
yeah, like, always just trying to help and really selflessly trying to,
Support
yeah,
you.
just support me and, just things, all the little things that he doesn't have to do is always like thinking of more ideas and ways to make things better and, to make things look better and all of those things. It's like, oh, it's really, really nice. And, like people don't have to do that. Sometimes it's not obligatory, but some people are kind and it's very helpful and lovely.
Yeah, I get that. Annie asks, can you share about when you've been on tour? Okay, a lot of people are interested in this, aren't they? They want to know, what is life like on tour? I mean, I know that you're heading to Canberra tomorrow and, you're going to have this wonderful concert there. Annie says she expects it's both exciting and stressful. So tell me a bit about kindness on tour. Is that an area where kindness can come into?
Kindness. I'm not so sure, but I guess people have shown me kindness by buying tickets to my show.
Yeah.
And yeah,
True.
not, like every show is different. Some shows lots of people buy tickets really quickly. Other shows are much slower, but the show tomorrow, it's selling really, really, really quickly and really well. So I feel like, I don't know, maybe people are being kind to me. Like it's just, yeah, it's really, it makes me have some kind of something to look forward to when I know that people are really anticipating being there and listening to my music. And yeah, I suppose don't fight with the person sitting next to you.
Do you get stressed on tour?
This year and last year, yeah, it has been stressful because we just don't know. Like the first day of the tour, 1st of July, was meant to be the very first show in Hobart, and that got cancelled literally 2 days before. So, those situations are very stressful, but what can you do?
Do you get nervous as you're about to step out?
I do. I get nervous for every show. I guess more for certain shows than others. Not every show is the same level of nervousness, but I do get nerves all the time. But then I try and turn that nerve into excitement and energy, and then I feel suddenly really energized and just like a really fun roller coaster feeling. People pay to get on roller coasters, so you try and use that nerves to make into fun energy.
I love that. So you're transforming that energy and you're channeling it into a different direction. That's fantastic. Another question from Annie. In this very tough COVID environment for creative arts, singers like yourself, musicians, I know you've touched on this a moment ago, what can the community do to show kindness to this industry? I mean, I feel horrified at the number of shows that are being closed, and I really worry about people losing their jobs and, to not go to see theatre, not listen to music. That really pains me. I mean, and you're in the thick of it.
Yeah, I feel like just the understanding by the general public and the ticket holders that it is a really, really tough time for so many in this industry. Just that understanding and standing with us kind of makes me feel much better, because I think a lot of people don't even know that this is going on. They just think, oh, well, it is what it is. And, some people aren't affected by this at all. Whereas, yeah, I see all the people in this industry suffering. So I guess that, feeling the, having the empathy for the industry is a really, really great start. And also, I guess, buying tickets and holding on to them even when it gets postponed. I know it's not ideal, but it does help that, people don't go and get a refund straight away. Sometimes you can't help it, but it's, I suppose that's the best thing you can do for us and the other performers.
Amanda asks, and she hopes this is not too much of a personal question, do you have a favorite Bible verse or passage which helps you during hard times?
Well, look, I'm going to, there's a lot of Bible passages that I have memorized are in Korean. But I guess the one that I remember always is, the Lord is my shepherd and I shall not be in want. And, what's in English, when you, I don't know the rest of it in English, but, even if you're going in the lows, the valleys, and he is with you. So just remembering that, that passage makes me feel like I'm okay.
Apart from gardening, do you like to read? What are other ways that you like to unwind?
I actually love listening to audiobooks, Audible. Yeah, I love doing that. And yeah, I've been doing a bit of reading, listening to a lot of YouTube, like really great YouTube channels that talk about different like self-help things. Or I like watching history. People explain history on YouTube. Like, YouTube is so good.
It is. It's fantastic.
I love YouTube. And it's very easy to watch. It's not too technical, and you can just look up things that you're interested in. I watch a lot of gardening videos.
Nice.
Yeah, I bake as well. I'm into baking now. I'm so domesticated. I didn't used to be like this, but I love baking cakes.
I love baking cakes too. It's a wonderful, you feel like you're sort of nourishing everybody around you. And then the cake is going like this in the oven. It's fantastic.
Everyone loves you if you have a cake, right?
Absolutely. Dami, many years ago, you told us that you thought that the only thing you were going to be was a concert pianist, a classical concert pianist. I wonder, when you look forward, how do you see your future? Because for many of us, we would say, wow, she's at the top of her game already, but you're so young, there's so many places you can go. Do you ever sort of look at a particular performer or a type of music and think, that's where I want to be?
That's a great question. I don't think I have a particular person that I go, oh, I'm going to be like. I suppose I just thought of this, but when I look at somebody that inspires me is Dani Minogue, because she was my X Factor mentor. But just the way that, like, how passionate she is about her career, and she's always giving it, 150% with everything she does. And she just seems to just find things that she loves working on. Yeah, she just keeps going. And I think that's really, that inspires me a lot. And for me, being a musician and someone who writes songs and sings, I would like to be doing that for, as long as I can, until I drop dead. So, yeah, I think, like, I guess there are certain things, different things you do at different ages, but then is that really true? Like, I think I'm still gonna be singing if I'm even when I'm 60 or 70, like that's something you can do. I suppose if you do something like sports, you can't keep doing that, but with music you can do it, and it might change slightly in the way that I do it. I don't know, but yeah, I feel comforted by the fact that I know that I'll be doing it for the rest of my life.
Beautiful. That's a great answer. Well, we are at the end of our Kind July conversation, and I'm so very grateful to you for giving us all this time and giving us this insight into your life and sharing with us some of your disappointments as well as your strategies. Dami Im, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I had such a lovely time. So thanks for having me, Jane.
And we wish you the best of luck with your concert performance in Canberra. And just to everybody else out there, we only have one Kind July conversation to go, which is next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And that is with Dr. Daniel Noor, who has an NGO which works with homeless people. And that, of course, is going to be a really interesting story given our current environment. So everyone's saying goodbye on the chat, and it's time for us to say it too. Lots of love.
Bye. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jane.
Thank you.